The return of Varkath, a kingdom's looming threat. The shadow of Varkath. For centuries, the kingdom of Eldoria stood strong, its people thriving under the reign of benevolent kings. But King Aldric knew peace was a fleeting illusion. In the catacombs of his grand library, buried beneath dust and time, he had read the forgotten chronicles, the tales of a malevolent force known as Varkath. 400 years ago, it had nearly consumed the realm. Now, the signs of its return were undeniable. The skies wept black rain, crops withered under an unseen blight, and whispers of the dead clawed at the edges of the wind. Aldric had fought wars, had bathed in the blood of tyrants and warlords, but this was something beyond mortal steel. His advisors begged him to flee, to abandon the land, and let the darkness take what it would. But Aldric was no coward. He loved his people, and he would rather die than watch his kingdom rot under the grip of an ancient horror. The book spoke of a power buried deep within the Maw of Arros, a mountain shrouded in perpetual storms and jagged obsidian cliffs. The Blade of the Forsaken, an artifact forged in the black fires of creation itself, a weapon that could destroy Varkath, but at a terrible cost. Legends whispered that those who wielded it paid with their very soul. Aldric set out with his most trusted warriors, crossing the broken lands toward the Maw. The further they went, the darker the world became. The sun faded behind layers of seething clouds, and creatures that had no place in nature slithered from the cracks of the earth. His men were strong, battle-hardened killers, yet some vanished into the night, their screams cut short by whatever horrors lurked beyond the torchlight. By the time Aldric reached the mountain's heart, only he remained. The cavern pulsed with unnatural energy, the air thick with the scent of charred flesh and ancient suffering. The Blade of the Forsaken rested upon a stone altar, its metal blacker than the void, its edges dripping with shadows that moved like living things. Aldric knew what had to be done. He grasped the hilt. Pain, agony beyond anything he had ever known, tore through his body as the blade drank deep. He felt his memories, his love, his humanity being ripped away. His veins burned with the power of something older than the gods, something that did not belong in the hands of men. His heartbeat slowed, then stopped, and yet he remained. Aldric was no longer a man, he was something else. With the blade in hand, he returned to Eldoria. The skies boiled with shadows as Varkath emerged, a writhing monstrosity of nightmares given flesh. Its eyes were voids filled with suffering, its voice a chorus of the damned. But Aldric did not falter, he charged. The battle raged through the ruins of his kingdom. With every strike of the blade, reality itself screamed. Varkath howled, the abyss recoiling at the raw power wielded against it. But with each blow, Aldric felt himself slipping further, his soul unraveling, becoming something less than human, something monstrous. With a final earth-shattering strike, Aldric drove the blade into the heart of the beast. Varkath let out a cry that shattered mountains and splintered the heavens, and then silence. When the dawn came, Eldoria stood, though scarred and battered. The people emerged from their hiding places, their eyes filled with awe and horror. Their king had saved them. But he was no longer their king. Aldric stood among the ruins, the blade fused to his arm, his once golden eyes now abyssal voids. He had won, but at the price of his soul. The people whispered in fear, their savior now a shadow of what he had been. He turned, walking away from the kingdom he had fought so hard to protect. He could not stay. The hunger within him was too great, the darkness too deep. Legends say he wanders still, a ghost in the night, neither man nor demon, the cursed guardian of a kingdom that fears him as much as it owes him its salvation. Somewhere, in the darkest corners of the world, the remnants of Varkath whisper his name. The King of Shadows.